So I wanted to kind of show you what it looked like laid out before we start doing any sewing. So I've got a stripe here that's got blue bow ties. And I'm going to add blue in between and then do the white bow ties after that and do another piece of blue. This piece right here will add on about a foot on each side. So this is 36 by 36. We add another foot. We'll be right at 60 by 60. Now we get the seams too. I'm not too worried about that, but thank you, Sherlock. And then I'm not sure what to do about the corners. I'm not sure I have quite enough. I could just do a big square on the corner, or I could try to do some sort of mitering. Not sure how that's going to look, but here's the path forward that we're going to take. So we're going to sew these next to a stripe, next to a stripe, next to a stripe, and make one big long guy, and then wrap that around. And whether we do squares on the corners so that we don't see how well or how they don't well mesh. We need to break this up because we have some different sizes going on, and that will keep the eye still moving along. Oh my goodness. But it'll be big enough. So the cat's already sat on it. I didn't get any picture of the cat sitting on it. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sure she'll sit on it again because Olive approves. Olive approves. All right, we've got a path forward. Thank goodness, because I've been dreaming about this one. Oh, gosh, it's so pretty. I love this. I love this Robin Egg blue. All right, let's start piecing and sewing. So we got to put these guys next to other guys that are just like that. I did try to piece it without the stripes, and it looks pretty good, but I don't have enough to do this. So, I mean, it won't make it big enough. I don't think it'll make it big enough. So, there you go. All right, so I'm ready to start sewing tails. Thank you, Sherlock. So here's our stripes for the white bow ties. Goodness, my dog. And we're gonna start sewing tails together. So we've got a couple wonky pieces. We sent to the side. Goodness, the birds are here. And we're gonna start with the good ones in the center going out, and then we'll get to the wonky ones, which are quite a challenge with my little OCD-ness. Oh my gosh. So we are going to add a stripe. We've got it. There we go. Sorry. We got our border around. Sherlock, it's too loud. It's just too loud, buddy. Thank you. We've got our border around our checkerboard. We're going to use that same width for separating these out so that our eye doesn't see all the wonkiness when we're done. I'll show you I'll show you what I'm talking about as we're going. So let's start sewing tails. So you can see that our tails are cut at the diagonal, or we'll cut these part at the diagonal, but that leaves a piece of diagonal at the end. So we want to take the other side, and if we sewed it like this, watch what happens. We would end up with not a tail, we would end up with a 45. It's like, that's not what we want. Let's try the other side. So if we do that to that, what do we get? Huh. All right, what if we sewed straight across? We just sewed straight across? Now we get a big fat piece. Oh, I have to really think this out, don't I? Okay, so let's we're gonna line these triangles up here, and we will sew halfway across that guy, and then that should give us a stripe. So let's try that. So we want to go? Okay, and it's the halfway between where we sewed. Oops. Okay, you really, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So you really have to watch where your seam is, not where you think it goes. So we can zip those up. There we go. That's a line. And then halfway between where we sewed, which would be right there. That makes more sense. Okay. Okay. that works. That works. All right, we got a lot to cut off, so we'll get that off now. So I'm not going to that nice 1/4 inch. I'm going to a little bit fatter, which is fine. So let's go ahead and get these extra strings here. All right, get that ironed open. We're going to do this all the way around with all of our stripes until we have one big long white stripe guy and then one big long blue bow tie stripe. There you go. So step one. Sew the stripe tails together. There we go. And then we'll go to step 2, which is, do we need to trim? I'm not sure yet. I think we're gonna have to just see how it starts going together. So, okay, so we've got all of our tails sewn together. And I've got 2 long strips. One's got the whitish bow ties, and one's got the robin egg blue bow ties. There we go. Oh my gosh, it's like, does robin egg blue actually feel better? Or does it, can I feel the robin egg blue? I don't know, that's kind of crazy. Okay, so what I've decided to do, and I've absolutely overthunk this, which is that part of the quilt. So I've got this stripe all the way around my checkerboard. I'm gonna add one of these. I don't know if I'm gonna do the blue bow ties first, or I'm gonna do the white bow ties. Don't need to worry about that right now. But my stripe that's gonna be in between, I do need to get some of those ripped. I'm gonna do the same 2.5 inches, which was half of our 5. So we are going to make some 2.5 inch strips. And you know what I like to do? I like my easy cutting method. Rip them! So I will be ripping a whole bunch because I'm going to be putting those in between. Thank you, Sherlock. In between our bow ties. Will it work? I don't know. I'm on the diagonal. I always think it sounds cool to do the triangles, and then when I do the triangles, I'm like, why did I do the triangles? I don't know. All right, we're gonna finish this quilt. We're gonna finish it up. All right, next step. Let me finish ripping my 2.5 inch strips so I can put it on these diagonals. I'm gonna sew this strip on the side of the diagonal before I start putting actually on the checkerboard to give it some more strength. I've got everything on the bias right now, and it stretches and moves and wiggles and giggles, and so when we get this straight piece back on, that'll help hold the strength again. So we'll get some strength for this. So there'll be rails all the way around. I think I have enough. Let's take a look. Okay, so we're what we do? We did the sew. We sewed the stripe tails together. We're on number 2, which was trim sides. I don't know if I want to trim the sides, but we're on the number 3, so we're going to sew it different. Okay. Wish me luck. I'm kind of scared. All right, so me and Sherlock, we're going to be doing some more sewing. Are you ready, Bobos? Are you ready? Oh, he's such a good boy. You're such a good boy. All right, baby. Maybe that way he won't bark. Oh, my goodness, Bobos, you are heavy. All right, so we're going to take our stripes. We're going to take our blue bow tie and sew it with a solid stripe. So we'll have stripes. There we go. We're going to sew those. Then we'll sew the white bow ties, and then we'll start going around our checkerboard. All right, here we go. Sherlock, why's you barking, buddy? Okay, this is the right side. I put the pin so I know which is the top side. All right, we're gonna sew it that way. I do. I'm gonna keep the stripe on the top so that I can make sure that I'm folding that down to the side. Sherlock, that's enough, buddy. Bobo, I know you're excited that we're filming. I know you're excited. All right, so this stripe that I'm sewing on, is 2.5 inches, where the one I cut is less than 2.5 inches, more than 2.5 inches, kind of depends on which part's the wonky part. So adding this straight stripe on here will make this more solid. So we'll just keep at that laying out part. I wanted to show you something pretty cool here. So here's here's our checkerboard. Thank you, Sherlock. Oh, thank you. Okay, so here's our checkerboard, and we're going to be adding this guy around the checkerboard. And I wanted to show you. So we got the stripe that we did. We added the blue on the outside of it. So we got the blue bow ties. We got the white bow ties, and it's got its piece. And then when we add this, I want to show you the layout. If we do a mitered corner, we get this really cool effect here. And then if we do this, we might get, up here in this little corner, we might end up with a little odd looking triangle. I think that's going to be pretty cool. I don't know if it's actually going to do that when we get to the actual sewing part. We'll see. We'll see. So, yay! I love the layout part. So I also wanted to show it to you from this other side where, so we got our checkerboard, right? And these are charm squares that we got, and we cut them kind of weird looking. Anyway, so we get this interesting looking goblet looking border, which I think is going to look really cool. This is what happens when you cut in an unusual way, is you get these unusual patterns. So we'll see what that looks like. All right, we're going to start sewing this piece on all the way around. Then we'll sew this next. Put this down so you can see it. We'll sew this next piece on all the way around, and then we'll see what we get. Oh, this is exciting. I wanted to show you one more thing. Our checkerboard pattern has 4 squares on this side, 4 on this side. The scissors are the center. I'm going to use this center point here to line up with the center point on this stripe that I'm adding. And then when I get the next stripe, I'm going to do the center point of this. So it'll make that shape. Floating ice cream in a cup shape kind of thing. Anyway, because this is a different pattern than this, even though it's just on a diagonal, I needed to get something lined back up again. So we're going to use the center line of the center of the quilt going both ways to get that piece on. And then we'll find out what happens with the mitered corners. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, here we go. I have pinned, so my scissors are kind of holding this all because it's ready to slide that way, which is what happens when we get big pieces. Okay, so I got the center of the center. I've got one pin right here. I've got some extra flap on the end piece that's kind of hanging out. And we will do the mitered corners after we get the pieces on, I think. So let's start sewing this and see how it goes. So here we go. All right. I've got the rest of the Sherlock. It's a little too tough almost. So I got the stripe going that way, which is already falling off the side. We get a little crazy with this. Okay, so we got the center out. Just lay that. Wow. Why are you going? Okay, you're on the under. Okay, how about you be on the top? And you be on the bottom. There we go. Let's try that again. Sure. Good thing we pinned that center point, huh? All right. Lay it. Really want to go. Yes. Yay. Yay for flat surfaces. Okay. All right. Oh my goodness. We're nice and straight. So, there we go. I am curious. What is this going to look like? So a little straighter than flat, please. There we go. Flat, flat, flat. There we go. Sherlock. Too much, Bubbo. Okay, so there we go. Let's take a look. Ooh, look at that nice pattern. Oh, I like that. Oh my gosh, this robin egg blue is amazing. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so our next part, we've got the first stripe sewn all the way down. We've got these extra flappies that we're gonna have to miter. So I've got extra pieces kind of flopping around. We'll iron that, but this is what we're looking like. Cool, huh? Nice border. All right, so let's get ironing. So I'm gonna iron, make that miter with the iron, so I've got a nice little edge on where to sew. So the ironing will help us. And then I wanted to show you on this flap that we've added, I'm gonna press so that, thank you, Sherlock. I'm gonna press so that this is going that way. That'll make it'll give a nice little poof, if you will, to the stripe, the blue stripe that we're adding. Will that make a difference? I don't know, but it will make the iron, so I won't have so much floppy back and forth with the potential seams underneath, which will make it cleaner looking and make less bumps. So is it really important in the end? I don't know. And to make sure that you can do that, you can also iron upside down. So we got the right side down to make sure that we're pressing that way. Will that help me? I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that we're pressing that way. So sometimes the pressing helps one way or the other. And if you get your pressing backwards and you look at it and you're like, you know what, that didn't work, you just re-iron it. Turn it back over and re-iron it. So, see how that, look. Excuse me. All right, we're gonna keep ironing, and this quilt is gonna be done, or the quilt top's gonna be done soon anyway. We must have birds. We must bark at the birds. Go, Sherlock, bark at the birds. Crazy dog. All right, have fun sewing. I hope you're having fun. So I wanted to show you this mitered corner. So when we put this, when we iron this straight, it's gonna make this nice 45 here, and when we iron this flat, we get this nice little itty bitty blue corner right here in the center, or right here in the corner. And we can kind of finger straighten that out to make it truly a triangle. And when we iron this flat, we'll know exactly where we need to sew. All right, because that will be the edge. Look at that. Sweet! All right, 4 more. Yay! So this one is not going to give us a nice little triangle, but it looks pretty cool. If it was a perfect triangle, we would be a machine. We're not a machine, we're making a hand quilt. Oh well. And here's another one. Turned out a little bit more wonky. Okay. All right, I'm still good with it. We can still play checkers. All right, got one more corner. We'll see how this goes. Here's the last corner, which actually turned out pretty good. So, too good and too a little bit wonky. That's not too bad. So we've ironed, and we're going to close that up. So we've got the fold right there, And that's where we want to stitch, right in that fold. So we are going to come from the corner out, because that's the last good piece we had. How are we going to sew that? We're going to be around this way then. Okay. Keep those nice and straight to each other. So that's the outer edge. We don't really care about the inside so much, but we do care about the outer. Okay. Center, center. There's already a seam right there, and when you put your needle down, you want to be right in that groove. And we're going to back stitch over that a couple times to make sure that we've got it. So right on the 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Nice and flat that way. Alright, let's open that up and see what it looks like. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we can go ahead and cut this floppy part off. Make sure you know what you're cutting. Let's see, let's go from that side first. Alright, I'm leaving a lot of seam allowance, but you know, it's okay. Alright, let's make sure we're not cutting into our quilt. We can trim off more if we want to, but look at that. Nice little miter. We got a little floppy part right there. Let's go ahead and take that baby off. Take the ears off so that when we put the next piece on, that'll so nice. Oh, look at that. All right, 4 more corners to go. There he is, little stinker bug. Hey, Sherlock, what do you think? Do you want to sew some more? Do you want to sew some more? See, no, I want to just cuddle with him. I want to cuddle with the blankies, and I want to chew on the corners. Yes. Oh, you're hollow. No one ever feeds you? No one ever feeds you? That's awful. Poor Barbie. Poor Barbie, no one ever feeds you. All right, next part. So we've got the solid border. We've got the next border around it, and now we're going to do the little white bow ties, and I'm going to line those up so they are right underneath the bigger piece, which is harder to see. So let's just sew those on there. Thanks, Sherlock. We'll do the same thing we did last time with mitering the corners. And I think I'm going to put these in my lap. That should help. I'm having a hard time things flying off the counter. All right. So, and because as the strings, because we ripped, we get strings all the time. So just one of those little weird things we have to work with because of the ripping, which makes the cutting so much faster. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing we did before where we've got it centered up. We're gonna mark the center. So, see if we can watch this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the center line is right here. So I wanna line up to this guy. We wanna leave some piece hanging off the end so we have some extra slack on dealing with our corners. So that lines up to here. So we're going to take the center of this guy very easily. So use it. I know you don't see me pin very much, but we're going to pin on this one. So you take this guy, fold him in half, get the seams together, get a little pinch, dunk. Guess what that is? That's the center line right there. Where'd that fold go? Right there. Boop. So we'll put that there. Now we'll get the center line of this guy. Same thing. We'll fold it over. Fold it over. Match the seam. Boom. Give it a little pinch. Pinch it on the edge because that's where we're actually going. And we got that nice little fold there. And we are going to put a pin right there. Boop. Wonderful. Okay, we'll leave that for, and make sure that we still have the slack. Yes, we do. We'll pin this center piece. good. Good. I'm just going to leave one pin. All right. There we go. Now, we just kind of flatten it out till we get to the end piece here. Should we pin this? Let's go ahead and do the pin, the first one, because we're having problems with that. We've got this nice and flat right now. It's a little bit easier to do than in the air. Okay. All right. That's a bit easier. We'll put a pin there. There we go. Save us a little bit of time. All right. Let's sew. The ever-moving foot pedal, huh? Sherlock, that's too much bubble. Boy, this robinette blue is so pretty. You think robinette blue is pretty too, Bubbles? Can you taste robinette blue? Does it taste different than regular blue? What is regular blue? Alright. I like to take the pins out before I go over them with the sewing machine because I do not like the sound of it breaking that metal on metal. That metal on metal break. Is it worse than a broken corgi? I don't know. Sure. Alright, so do you sew under the influence of a dog? Alright. That's a crazy dog. Crazy dog. Is there birds out there? There's birds? I'm going to show you something really cool. So there's finger pressing or thumb pressing, but then there's fingernail pressing. So that's what I'm doing right here at the very end to make sure that I get my miter just right. I'm going in here with my fingernail and I'm just sliding across the seam. I'm making sure that the seam is folded under, okay? And I'm fingernail pressing that. And hopefully you can see the dent here. And I'm going to sew my needle right up to that finger press line. And if you really want to, you could put a pin in it. But I got it right to the edge. And I'm going to back off and then close it up. But I got right to that press, which is perfect. Yes. To show you a little bit of an optical illusion. So we've got, it looks like we've got a little corner. And if you draw your line, you're like, oh, that just connects there, right? But it really doesn't. So if we take a straight edge, we are coming in and we're off. And we're coming in and we're off again. But that when you change to here, when you do this, this is called floating. And it's a nice way to bring symmetry back into your quilt. You'll think it's an optical illusion. You'll think these line up, right? You think that lines up and that lines up. There we go, I actually brought this. You think it lines up, but they don't. So that's the optical illusion. Your eye wants to draw a straight line, here to here, here to here. And yet, when you look at it, it's not there. Sweet, huh? Okay, so before I sew this corner, I wanted to point something out. So I've got it ironed so we can do this mitered edge, but if you look really closely, you see things don't quite line up. I gotta tell you, while I'm making these for y'all and doing this, it's like I'm burying stuff I shouldn't be burying. And it's okay. People, when they get homemade quilts from you, they love them, okay? They're not always looking always interesting. Now, if you're turning this in for being graded, if you're going to be turning a quilt in for a a quilt show, you absolutely have to watch these things and you have to fix them and you have to do them correctly. But this is not a quilt show quilt. This is just a fun quilt. This is a checkerboard. We're making a checkerboard quilt for playing checkers on. Okay, it's not going to be a quilt show quilt. And Sherlock says that's okay. And I know it's okay too. I just want to show you, this is one of the hardest things to show up, to point out to you. A lot of people make mistakes on quilts and they don't show you in these YouTube videos. I'm going to show you. So it's hard, but you know, I'm actually a human being too, so. And so are you, and that's okay. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I've got the border on. The whole quilt top. The quilt top is done. Oh my gosh, look at this robin egg blue. Oh, wow. Wow. Let's see if I can get the whole thing in. Oh, I think I need to put the camera back. Let's try this a little bit more. Move it back a little bit. All right, now try. Look at this. Oh, it's gorgeous. Wouldn't you want to play checkers on this? Wouldn't you want to play checkers on this? We got our checkers. We got our checkers. We got these from. We got our checkers here. We can play checkers. This was the charm squares, right? The 5-inch charm squares. We got from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. I drove out with my friend to Hamilton, Missouri to get these. So that's the white parts with all the little pretty patterns in them. Right, somewhere there's chickens. Where's the rooster rather? We got roosters, we got stripes, we got just all kinds. And then we went to Jackman fabric and we got this robin egg blue. They have the most beautiful blue fabrics there. Look at that. Oh my goodness. All right, so we're gonna wrap this. We'll put the quilt together in the next one, and I'm just gonna flip it inside out. I'm gonna do my flip trick. I think. Am I gonna hand tie this or am I gonna? Oh! It's done. All right. So you know the YouTube stuff, right? So if you got this far, like, hey, you know you want to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. There's the next video YouTube thinks that you like. I don't know, this side or this side. I don't know. Comes on one of the sides. So, it's done. It's just done. Oh, this one was. I gotta admit, this one was a little frustrating. But it's done. Okay, Sherlock. Oh, he's snapping. Well, I woke up now. Wow. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for joining us. And, keep quilting, right? It's the 100% cotton. It just feels better, right? It just feels better. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.